Steam locomotives were some of the most powerful machines ever built. They pulled trains that fueled our imagination. They represented vision, collaboration, ingenuity, customer service, and extraordinary human achievement. But in order to get to their destination, it took someone guiding them through a series of switches in order to get to the main line. Just like leaders today, it takes someone directing them down the right path in order to get to their destination. Welcome to Mainline Executive Coaching ACT, which stands for and Cultural Transformation, hosted by Master Certified Intelligent Leadership Executive Coaches Maikel Bailey and Rich Barron, with over 50 years of successful cultural transformation and quantum leadership development between them. Brought to you by Intelligent Leadership Executive Coaching, the world's foremost authority on cultural transformation and intelligent leadership development. Once again, thanks for joining us and enjoy today's show.
All right, welcome to Mainline Executive Coaching ACT. We are here to give you a continuing insight and help and understanding about why leaders fail. That's what we're going to be talking today about, and I'm here with my partner, Rich Barron. I'm Maikel Bailey, and we've got why leaders fail. Reason number 3, why leaders fail and managers fail, is leaders and managers don't live the core values. There's hypocrisy there, there's duplicity, there's double play, there's unfairness, there's politics, there's all sorts of reasons why leaders sometimes feel like they don't have to. They're favorites, or they're special, so they don't have to. So that lack of authenticity, that lack of your word integrity that we talked about here just a moment ago, that really sets up a real dissonance and irritation inside employees. They're going, well, what's going on? Why do they want us to do it? But they're obviously not doing it and all that kind of stuff. So let's dive in here. What's your thoughts on this here, Rich?
Well, I think it comes back to some of the opinion of do what I say, not what I do type thing. So this goes back to that survey that we're going to talk about. And I think it's probably, I'll tell you what, let me share my screen and let's just jump right into it. Okay, all right. So yeah, back to reason number 3, why leaders and managers fail. So moving on, this is everything we've been talking about, Maikel, is based on that MIT, SMR, and the Glassdoor culture survey that had 1.4 million employee reviews in it. And it was based on the top 10 reasons why employees feel that organizations fail and why leaders fail. So here's some startling facts.
And it's not just that they fail,
it's
that they create this huge disconnection for the employees. And it's about trust, and it's about believing, and it's about being honest and forthright and transparent and all that stuff. You do that, you don't live your values, all that's just out the window. Means nothing.
Means absolutely nothing.
You are flapping your gums.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, here's the thing. This is the number 3 reason out of those 10 reasons, Maikel, that employees in this survey felt the organizational culture and leaders fail. And, this is a big one, 7.3 times an indicator of why employees think an organization's culture and their leaders fail. 7.3 times. We went back to the first one. Well, support was second and respect was number 1, but this is number 3, and it's still incredibly high on the list as far as, an indicator of why employees struggle with this. Here's some of the things that survey shows, Maikel. Surveys show that employees are generally cynical about organizations' core value statements and don't expect leaders to live up to these values. That's a sad statement in and of its own, because
Pathetic.
It's pathetic. It's a general statement on here, but it was something that came across time and time again. They're cynical. They
No,
really
this
don't
is-
believe it, that these leaders will live up to these values regardless of what they are.
This is like the back in the day with Covey, who's going out talking about mission statements. Everybody, all the businesses got their mission statements, and they got, announcement, put it on the wall. Everybody can come and see it. And after that, it was just a big nothing burger. Nobody paid any attention to it. It just didn't mean one doggone thing. And now this is the latest version of that. Get your values for your organization.
Yeah.
And make you got them. No, it means nothing. It's not even worth the paper it's printed on. It's not even worth the cardboard that you put it up and hang up on the wall. If you're not actually living these things, if you don't see, that's the interesting thing about us human beings. This is really interesting. We can tell almost instantaneously when somebody is out of sync with their values. We can
Yes.
tell almost instantaneously if somebody's being inauthentic, they're lying to us, they're being duplicitous. There's something in our gut that just says, there's something off here. There's something wrong. This is not really right. President Lincoln said, you can fool some of the all the people. So some of the people, all the people, some of the time, some of the people all the time. But you can't fool all the people all the time. That's just the truth.
Right.
People will pick up on it. And if you're one of those smarty pants leaders, think that you could be duplicitous and sneaky, that you're smarter than everybody else. Hey, you know what? You just wait, buddy. Time's coming.
Time's coming.
Judgment is going to be happening here sooner or later.
But here's the other thing, that the same survey has showed that employees, they do not expect the leaders to live the core values. They just simply don't. But they become far more loyal to that company when they do see leaders living the core values of the organization.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is for those people that are watching? You answer that. Why do you think is? Why do people become more loyal to those leaders, those organizations that actually live their values day in and day out? That consistency. What do you think that is, Rich?
Because it's contagious. Good leadership is contagious. It's contagious when people see people doing the things that they value, personally value, like living up to the core values of the organization or their own personal core values. That becomes contagious in the fact that people want to follow this individual. They want to be like this person. And then they start believing the same things this person believes. This company really does have some awesome mission, vision, and purpose statements, and this person is living them.
I think it creates, I think that's good. I think that's right. I also think that it creates a work environment of predictability, meaning it's a predictably safe place to work in.
Safe place to work in.
Yeah. And with that sense of safety, there's a sense of a couple things I think also emerge. One is you feel comfortable. You're not on edge. Like, what are they going to do today? What are they going to say today? What are they going to get upset about today? That sense of, you have a sense of comfortableness. You're just like, I'm comfortable here. I'm okay about it. And then with that also is that sense of belonging. We're good. We're all good. We're all working here together. There's no weird stuff going on. We got the core values. Everybody understands them. We're living those.
Yes.
Sense of belonging and acceptance that come along with that. All those things are huge human needs. They're not little. They are huge.
Yes, they are. Well, let's jump into some of these things. And what are the core values? What are they? So what are core values, Maikel? What do you feel that the core values in an organization truly are?
Well, core values, they come out of the leadership. And they really are they really are a reflection of the leader or the leadership. And they are intrinsic to that individual or that group of individuals. Core values aren't something that you aspire to. It's not like I like to one of these days. It'd be really cool if I had that value. It's intrinsic to you. You bring it in your gut. That's who it is that you are. And so this is one of the things that HR really needs to really get, because I think that's why they have a lot of mishires, is that it's like the thing we talked about. When your kid's off doing something they shouldn't. It's an instinctive reaction. It's just something inside you goes, something's off here. And so when HR is hiring people, they need to be looking at, not just in terms of the paper trail that they're looking at here. But they also need to be looking at a more intuitive level about, does this person really have the core values of who it is that we are?
Yes.
And that's why I think they get screwed up. They get caught up in the paper trail, the resume, all that kind of jazz. But there's a complete non-sync, a complete misalignment with the core values. Core values, you want to go to a place, Rich, where the core values pretty much align up with your core values.
Yes.
Because if they
absolutely.
do not, you're going to be like, they got a great vision here, a great mission, but the core values, you will always be uncomfortable about it. So core values start with the leaders. It comes with who it is that they are. And so when you go to a place where you really like the leadership and the people and everything, basically to a large extent is because you have alignment with your own core values and theirs.
Yes, exactly. So you kind of answered this. Why are they crucial to an organization? Why are they crucial to a company? Why are good values really crucial? Why do people get up in the morning and come to work? You know, it's part of that why statement. Why are we here? What's our purpose? What kind of purpose do we have? And how are we gonna accomplish that purpose, and what are we gonna do? It's a guiding light, it's a beacon.
Yeah, and it's also not only getting up and going, it's how you get up and go, and
Yes.
that sense of, you know, why am I going? Is it just a paycheck, just run out the clock, whatever it is? It's crucial to the organization, because in that, they want, organizations want their employees to respect them. They want them to support what it is that they're doing, and they want that sense of loyalty. Now, loyalty tends to be sometimes a one-way street. You're loyal to the king, but that doesn't mean the king's loyal to you, right?
Right.
There's a one-way road. What we're really talking about here is crucial to the organization, because it is a bond of trust that you are creating when you put out that core value and you live that core value, and you're asking all leaders, all levels of the organization, to get an alignment, because that's who it is they are. This is who we are. This is who you are. As we do this thing, that creates the bond, and the bond is a bond of trust. And that bond of trust now creates a two-way loyalty of, I got your back and I know you got my back. It's both sides saying it. It's everybody around you saying it. That's why it's so crucial, because if people find that they're at a great place to work, and it's a great company, it's got a vision, it's pursuing it, it's getting the work done, it's also bringing the people together in a way that really, lifts them, encourages them, and does all the wonderful things we've been talking about, that is like heaven. That is like the best place in the world to work. That's why it's so important, because you want people to come to go like, this is the best place ever to work. And then they'll put their hearts in it, and they will work hard.
So who must set these standards? And I think you've hit on that as well. Culture, we've talked about this, I don't know how many times. And if you haven't heard us say this by now, well, listen again, because it comes from the very top. The top must set the standards, and that has to follow down through communication throughout the company, not only through communication, but by acts of following these standards, acting courageously to do it.
Yeah, courageously, with integrity, honestly, a sense of duty, a sense of, this is what we must do. It's in the transparency of it all, the altruistic aspects of, we're going to win together, we're going to do this together, we're going to celebrate it together. Those things are just huge. And at a time when there's so many people like grasshoppers, like fleas, hopping from this business to that business to da. So much of that is driven by, their need to, I don't know what their need is exactly. We go into another time, but there used to be a time when you go to work for a company and you stay there. Stay there because this was a great company. They treated you well. You worked hard for them, and they worked hard for you. That's a whole other place. And if you got a company that's like that, boy, that's a real gem out there. It's
pretty rare nowadays. It really is.
It is.
So we're going to get into this next slide, but I'm going to ask you the question here before you do. What happens when leaders do not follow the values of an organization?
Let me ask you this question. There's going to be people out there that have experienced that, and probably we all have to some degree or another. What happens when you're married to somebody or you're really, really close in a relationship with somebody? It's an intimate relationship, and then you find out that they went and cheated on you.
Yeah.
It's crushing. At some level, it's just crushing. They say this, they do this, and all of a sudden they go make a deal with somebody else, or they do this other thing. You were bringing up an example there a few moments ago. It is crushing. It is, it hurts. It is shocking. It is just simply crushing. And the people that are doing that kind of stuff in those leadership positions, when they fall out of integrity and they do not, they for some reason excuse themselves from keeping the core values. Well, this time we'll change it, or this for this reason. Man, I'm telling you, it sends reverberations not only through the whole organization, it sends reverberations throughout every individual that's there. It is brutal. It is not a fun time. There is no such thing, I'll give you an example, there is no such thing as an open marriage.
No.
If it says, well, we're in an open marriage, that is a freaking lie. Because someone in that marriage, somebody is going out and having a great time, and the other person is set themselves up for ongoing abuse. That's what it comes to.
Absolutely.
This is the same kind of thing, because it affects people in the same physiological way. It is a kind of abuse that you're inflicting on those people that work for you.
Absolutely. Here's the thing too. There's been some pretty big examples of when leaders of organizations don't follow the core values. And look at companies like Enron, WorldCom. If you remember what happened there.
Yeah.
They took the employees' money and squandered it and lost everybody's savings. Their retirement was gone. Their 401ks were gone. That's what happens when you have leaders that don't live the core values. That's a pretty drastic example, but those things did happen. So
they do. It's an act of treachery is what it is.
Yep. So we're going to go through some examples here, Maikel, of some failed values. So the first one here is innovation. So the value is innovation, but yet management continually stifles any ideas other than theirs. How often have we heard this?
Yeah, innovation sounds like a really cool buzzword in our society, our culture, our workplace today. Innovation is very, very cool. It is a very high level of cooperation and trust that exists, because until you're really willing to really share and involve yourself in that level of new thinking, new processing, you're kind of stuck. So if you're saying, what you're really saying is we believe in innovation, but so long as it doesn't threaten us in management. So threaten us in leadership.
We are an innovative, we are an innovative company. And when I say we, I really mean us.
Yeah.
So I mean me, yeah.
So I may say no to that, it's a dumb idea, but then what, 2 to 3 weeks later, it comes out, we have this great new idea.
Oh, absolutely. Seen a lot of that lately, quite frankly. Yeah.
What a rat.
Take your ideas and run with it. Yeah, we had our management team just came up with this.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah. All right. Okay, here's another one. The value is honesty, but yet sales is told to promise features of products not yet developed.
Oh man.
Maikel, I was just talking to you about this.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell the name of the company or the person that I know that's involved in this right now. It's an individual I know that's very close to retirement, but yet they were told to go out and sell this product. And it was a new product. It was very innovative, going back to the innovation thing, very innovative, and something that customers were really going to be happy about. And they sold the heck out of it. Okay. And then the company came back and told their salespeople, look, the supply chain, we're just not going to get this stuff. We don't know when we're going to get it, but let the customers know that we're not going to refund their money. They're on the hook for this until we can get it all sent to us, and then we can get it out to them. The problem is they knew beforehand there was a supply chain issue. Senior management knew there was a supply chain issue and told salespeople to go out and do this. Well, This individual that I know has worked for the company for a couple decades and now is going to retire early or considering retiring early, and because he doesn't want to go back to his customers who he's had for years and tell them this news, which is incredibly dishonest. And that goes back to serious greed and dollar signs.
That and desperation.
And it's an act of desperation, absolutely.
And if you look down the road here, this is not only that, the greed and the money and the desperation. This is actually an act of cannibalism. They are cannibalizing now their own people. They're cannibalizing their own their customers. That's what they're doing. I don't have the money to keep my business going. Therefore, I'm going to cannibalize, present to you. I've got this new line of products coming out, but I really don't. And I know I don't have them done. So therefore, I'm going to suck it out of you. I'm going to cannibalize you. And if we make it, we get lucky, we do that. And then hopefully we can repair those bridges. But at some level, they're going, we're just desperate and we got to do what we got to do to exist, even if that means that we're going to screw you over.
Yeah.
Cannibalism. There's no other way to describe it.
Here's another really good one. The value is teamwork. Okay, it's one of our core values. But yet slackers allow others to carry the load. Now, Maikel, I'm going to let you talk about this, but this comes from a really good article. Some of these things by Sherry Lyons that was in. She's part of the Forbes. She's a Forbes Council member.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And so I'll let you go into that. She talks about bad apples.
Yeah. Bad apples are a real problem. Daniel Coyle, in his book Culture Code, talks about the need to address rotten apples, that they very quickly, turn a small team, even a large team, very, very quickly. And if you're letting people get away with stuff that they shouldn't, what happens is not only does the rest of the team have to carry their load, but at some point the rest of the team goes, we're not going to do it anymore. We're just not going to do it. So that one individual, that rotten apple, not only brings down the team's performance, but it also starts bringing discouragement to all the individual players, and it's a rotten way to go. The thing about it is this. Here's the thing about this is, leaders, you have to make sure that people are really trained on the core values and really trained on their jobs, and they really know what it is. And you've had those interviews that said, do you understand this? Okay, let's hold some accountability here. Let's get this plan put in place so that they really know. Because at some point, if they're not aligning, if they're not changing their behavior and their performance to match what it is you expect, then they probably are. Sometimes they may not understand, but once you walk down that road and explain it, giving them a few chances, then it's like you have no choice. You just gotta, sorry, you can do whichever, I used to say people, you can do whatever you want. That's okay with me. You just can't do it here.
Yeah, exactly. We had a guest on our show a little while ago and she talked about this, how she had a great team put together. Yep. And there was one person who just simply would not, come to the table.
Yeah, it was actually two.
And they gave them a lot of, she gave them quite a few opportunities, worked with them individually, and it just didn't work. So she made the change. And once she made that change, the rest of the team came, it blossomed, and they did awesome work.
Half the time, she was down a little bit, and then she got rid of these others. Just so they're down to half the size of the team that they originally expected would need to do the work. That team, half the size, doubled what it is that they were doing. Not because they had to, not because she was whipping them, because they were so free. They felt so motivated because they got rid of the dead wood of the rotten apples. They just took it to town. They were amazing. That's what happens when you free people up.
Right. Exactly. So simply stated, what we just talked about, these values, they have no meaning if leaders do not have the courage to uphold the value statements, uphold the values. And courage is an incredibly important part of leadership. And that's what we're going to talk about right now for just a minute. Yeah, so how to exemplify these core values. The first one is really through courageous action. Do you have the courage enough to stand up to making sure you can individually hold up these core values as a leader, your company's core values, not only the company organizational values, but your personal values as well.
And I like the definition. I right now I don't recall who said it, but courage is doing the right thing even though you're afraid.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the right action in the face of fear.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And I've also been told, stand up for, the right thing, even if you're the only one standing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So taking pride in what you do, this is important, Maikel, and I want to unpack this a little bit, because there's a couple different parts of pride. Pride can come across as being egotistical, stubborn, arrogant, one-sided. But on the other side of the coin, the positive side of pride comes with time, and you have to earn it. So I want to say that again and make sure people understand the difference. Positive pride, taking pride in what you do, cannot be faked, and it comes with time. It comes with success. It comes with getting the succeeding in the right things. That's important. Positive pride is earned. It's earned. And it's this positive pride accumulates and becomes contagious. And so with each successful outcome, as you exemplify these core values, integrity, innovation, honestly, teamwork, on and on and on. We've seen all these different core values and things that people say. When you truly take pride in what you're doing, real pride, that is earned. It takes time, and it's not something that can be faked.
And it's a healthy pride versus an unhealthy pride.
Yes.
A healthy pride is tied into like the narcissism stuff and selfishness and greed and avarice and all that kind of crazy stuff. Healthy pride has a couple of other elements that I think are really, really important to mention here. One is humility.
Yeah.
Even though that person has done a great job, they're always open. I've not arrived. I'm still learning. I'm still practicing. I'm still getting better at what it is that I do, whatever that might be. The other one is modesty. That's a big one, modesty. So you're not taking it all to yourself. It's not that you're denying it. You're just being, I guess gratitude would kind of go along with it as well. That sense of gratitude and humility and modesty. Those are invaluable character traits in a leader or even in a worker. Yeah. They're very attractive.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's something that really exemplifies true leadership. True leaders have a pride in what they do, a true pride in what they do, positive pride in what they do, and it's not arrogance.
Right. You listen to great athletes, for instance. I mean, that's a great game that you just pitched today, or this is the third time you've gotten 2 home runs or 3 home runs. That's just really great. It's always very interesting how they start unloading. Well, we got to play the game. Got to, got a great coach here, great fans. They always move it off of them.
Yep.
And they say thank you, and then they pull it out there to everybody else. That's healthy pride, because it doesn't give you a big head. It doesn't distort you and thinking that you're all that. So we're really talking about what's the difference in some ways about being a healthy person, not just a healthy leader or healthy employee, but being a healthy person versus one that's
exactly
issues.
So passion, having passion in what you do. Do you truly have passion in what it is that you're doing at work, the type of work you're doing, the people you work with, seeing them progress and get better? Passion is important, because without passion, you're just going through the motions, and that becomes very evident.
Yeah, passion is a two-sided coin, because on one side of passion is like, passion is where a lot of the juice is, like, oh man, I'm just feeling it today. Unfortunately, we're human beings, and passion, because it is an emotion, it is a state of mind, it varies. Sometimes we're up with it a lot, sometimes we're not. So it's kind of this back and forth kind of thing. The other side of the coin of passion is self-discipline.
Yes.
And that's a big key, because if you are good at the self-discipline, even if the moment you're not feeling the passion, if you kick in your self-discipline, the passion will start coming back, you know? And so when you're in the passion part of it, then the self-discipline is there to making sure that you're just doing it the way that, you know it's got to be done. So passion is something that sometimes is evasive. You can have commitment, but often what cranks the engine over is the self-discipline.
Right. And that sometimes it has to be manually applied again.
Yes, it does.
It really does. That's right. You got to kick yourself in the butt and get back in the groove.
It's true, man.
Yeah. So executing with precision. You know, this is important. If you think, man, you know, how do you execute with precision? Heart surgeons, you know, you think about a heart surgeon or a brain surgeon or somebody like that, and they really have to execute their job with precision, right?
Yeah.
But what about just typical leaders in regular organizations? And I don't say regular just because there's a different, but in a typical organization, what about the leaders that are executing with precision?
There's a difference, you know, between getting caught up in perfectionism and somebody who has a very high standard like precision or excellence.
Yes.
And the precision gives you a goal to aim for.
Yeah.
Perfectionism is one of those things that you can never quite ever get it exactly all the time, just exactly. But the idea of precision, and I'm going to do my job with a level of real intent and excellence that allows that precision to come into play. That's good self-management, because it keeps your eye on the ball, it keeps you present, keeps you accountable, all those kinds of things. So precision is really very important. And then to teach that to others, to pass it on in a way that they get it, and it's not something you beat them with. Sometimes, you know, perfectionism or the kind of exactitude stuff can kind of a weapon that you beat people with.
Right. You know, it's interesting that, you know, been reading this book lately. My latest book I've been reading is Atomic Habits.
Right.
Wonderful book. And he in the first couple chapters, the author really points out that it's not about, the goal is the reward, but that's not what is the important part of this. The important part is the processes that get you to that goal, because the goal is just a momentary reward. It really is. You got to keep going on beyond that goal, and it's what you learn with these processes and develop these habits around these processes, and that get you that reward. And when you do it with precision, when you really focus in on these processes that get you to a certain point, and you start doing it with precision, and then it's like, bam. Matter of fact, he even uses that word in the book, bam, here's a reward. You know, you suddenly realize that you've done it. How did you truly do that? Well, it comes with that precision, that focus. And that can be individual, that can be a team, that can be in whatever aspect you're working with. But when you really focus in on the precision, focus on the process at hand, you know, that's going to get you to that end goal, which really isn't the end. It's just simply a goal. It's just a data point in that line. You got to keep going on beyond that. But it's those processes are going to take you further and further and further, you know, down that road.
It goes back to the practice. The process and practice are really, you know, very much connected. We talked about this before. I remember Elton John talking about these new bands that were coming out a while ago, and the bands really never went out and played, but they did all their music in studio. And he said, you know, that's not how it's really done. You got to go out there and you got to play the bars, you got to play the, you know, the not so great places, the dives. You know, you just go out there and get an audience and then play and play and play, because that's where you really fine tune your music. That's where you get the precision of how to do your music, so that when you go into the studio, because you've got all that practice and all that reworking of the music and the instruments again and again and again and again, then when you go into the studio, you can really lay it down. Now, what's interesting about that, some bands, once they lay that down, they will deliver that every time they go out again on tour. They'll do it exactly like it is on the record. Then there are those other bands, and then some bands are just really sloppy because they, you know, the studio just edited the crap out of it to make it sound good.
Yep.
But there's other bands that know how to deliver it, but they don't stay there. They will go out now. They will start, just doing things spontaneously. They'll just start going in different places because they know what it is, and because they know what it is and they're so good at it, they now can create. So that's what you're saying. Just because you got to the data point there doesn't mean you stop. You keep moving beyond it.
Right.
That's what real excellence is.
Yep. So, and accountability. I think this is really the key. Hold yourself accountable. And not only that, hold others around you accountable for living these core values.
Yeah.
So, and here in the end, I guess, what do you want your legacy to be remembered for? For someone that is really true to yourself, true to what you try to teach others, or as a do what I say, not what I do guy or gal?
Hey, one way or another, you're going to have a legacy. I mean, there's no way around it. People are going to think of you of like you're a wonderful leader, a person who really made a difference in my life, or it's okay to work there, or something. That was the worst boss I ever had.
Yeah.
You're going to get it one way or the other. You just have to determine, in that vision of your mind, how do you want to be remembered? So if you want to be remembered as that one that really made a difference, that, for the company, for the individuals, for the team, all that kind of stuff, want to be that one, then do it today, not someday. Do it today.
Today. Which brings us to the end here. So are you right person for leadership? And you have the courage to perform with pride, passion, and precision, what we talked about, which takes a lot of courage to do those.
Yep.
Do you possess the inner beliefs and strengths to uphold not only your values, but those of the organization? And do you understand what a true leader is? And if not, come see us.
Yeah. What does it mean to be a true leader to you? What's the real leader inside of you? There's a lot of talk these days about talent. That talent is, I think in some ways they're kind of wanting to play talent down because it's really the potential, the hard work that really makes a difference. They're absolutely true. I am also convinced that there are people that have leadership talent. They have it. And there's those that do not. They just don't have it. It's not in them. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just happens to be that's not their talent. And that's cool. That's okay. But that's the thing. If you've got talent, if you really believe you've got talent in leadership, then it behooves you to get the best kind of training you can possibly get. The people out there, whether in music or sports or whatever it is that's out there that we see people performing at a very high level of real delivery on what it is they do. They have had coaches, they have had mentors, they've had people work with them. They had the talent, but they didn't rely on the talent alone and some work. They learned how to stretch themselves, go to places that were uncomfortable and difficult.
Yes.
And that's why they're able to perform at the level they do, because they pushed themselves and they had somebody to push them and hold them accountable. That's what we do here. Sounds like we're torturing people, and sometimes it is a little bit like that, but it's all for the good.
It's all good. Yeah. So, and you're right. And there's due diligence involved, Michael, due diligence, all above due diligence, and it takes time. So I'll tell you what, go to executiveleadersactilec.com. And you can sign up for our new newsletter that is going out. So we just started sending that out. There's an online leadership assessment you can take on there that'll really help you determine, you feel you're a great leader, take this. And
you get a sense of where you are. I mean, that's
absolutely
pretty cool.
And, make an appointment with us.
That leadership assessment, that's go to the About page, go down to click on Rich, and it's down at the bottom of that page where it talks about Rich and what it is that he's doing.
Yeah. So, and here's the thing. And if you want to just call us outright, here's my number, 801-835-3535. Pretty simple number. Same with Maikel's, 801-910-5704.
Yeah.
Call us. Pretty simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Operators are standing by.
We'll go out for
which would be us. We'd be the operators, right?
We're the operator. Yeah, we're operating
here. So any shout outs tonight, Maikel?
I have been busy getting my computer back up and going. However, let's take a look here real quickly. If I can log in real quickly. Who could we take a look at and say yo to?
I know we've got some listeners in Germany. I know for a fact.
For a fact. Let's see. Frankfurt.
Dedicated. Yes.
Frankfurt. I think we talked about that before. We talked about some people in England. Here's one I don't know if I've ever seen before. Farquay, Varina. We talked about Farquay, Varina in North Carolina.
Interesting. Okay.
Sounds a little familiar. So a shout out to all you good folks out there in Portland, Maine, Michigan, Port Huron, and keep those cards and letters coming in, folks.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. So once again, we are at the end of another episode of Mainline Executive Coaching ACT. And so until next time, take care of each other, and we hope to hear from you soon.
All right, folks, all the best to you.
With all of the issues facing organizations today, leadership development and cultural transformation are needed more than ever. Go to our website, executiveleadersactilec.com. Book some time with us. Let's sit down and talk and get you on the path to success. This podcast was brought to you by Intelligent Leadership Executive Coaching, ILEC, the world's foremost authority on leadership development and cultural transformation. Once again, for Mainline Executive Coaching ACT, this is Rich Barron and Maikel Bailey. Thank you for joining us, and take care.